You have to accept.
But there's an extra wrinkle to it, George. Jews against Zionism. See, that's where it gets really sticky for these people. Okay, because when I think it was Union Station, where thousands and thousands of American Jews dressed identically. Never again, not in my name. That's pretty powerful. It's amazingly powerful, and it is the greatest indictment against Zionism, particularly in the United States. How do they get out of that? They can't.
No, they can't. And then we have this free speech supposedly on university campuses. And as you were saying, Peter, this was an issue that has been raised repeatedly by conservatives. Universities are the centers for debate. They have a discussion. That's where young people go to grow up and realize that there are many different views on the world. And so, stop being a baby and demand safe spaces. But clearly, there are, only the other day, Rashid Tlaib, no favorite of mine, her talk was banned at the Arizona State University. And we've had all kinds of associations at universities, which supposedly are, pro-Palestinian or anti-Israeli or whatever. And they're getting banned because universities are under pressure from donors, and they're under pressure out of fear of losing government contracts. And so this, and this goes back to the issue with Twitter X, that these corporate powers are very, very susceptible to political activists, often, these liberals who are themselves very lavishly funded, often also from governments, or these various strange organizations fighting digital hate, fighting discrimination, fighting anti-Semitism. They lobby these huge corporations like IBM, and then these corporations wield their massive power to bring people to heel. And so it's very interesting that we have is essentially kind of the liberal left, which supposedly was for free speech, are actually very happy that the biggest corporations in the world are actually cracking down on speech and bringing it to an end. Oh, that's great. IBM, Apple, Disney, bringing speech to an end. Great. 2 thumbs up.
Martin, jump in.
I don't think the liberal left really believe in free speech. I think that's one of the...
I don't either.
I think that's a really... I mean, I've been sued by Neil Kinnock, former Labour leader, for a horrendous amount of money in 2002 when I had a column in Private Eye. And, what people like Neil Kinnock or Elon Musk or any of these elites don't talk about when they talk about free speech is they don't talk about defamation laws. Because defamation laws are so... advantageous and so crafted for the elites. They're basically built for wealthy people to manipulate. You don't stand a single chance, in a defamation lawsuit against somebody who's got, a few million quid in the bank. And when I went to London and talked to the lawyers at Private Eye, an Etonian chain-smoking young man, the first thing he said to me is, "Have you got £25,000? I said, £25,000? Is that how much this case is going to cost? He said, no, that's how much it's going to cost just to start. So, Elon Musk and Neil Kinnock and the European Commission officials and all these people who bang on about free speech are usually from the liberal left. They don't believe in free speech because they never talk about reforming defamation laws. The defamation laws are so unfairly balanced towards the elite and not towards independent journalists like me. So that's something that jumps out, But whenever I hear about wealthy people talking about free speech, I'm reminded of that very funny cartoon in Private Eye of the High Court judge in his 80s leaning over his desk and pointing a finger at someone and says, "Right, we've heard your views about free speech, now shut up." And that really sums up what the elites think of free speech.
Well, I mean, the same thing can be said, George, is that, free speech is all nice and fine, but Israel and Zionism is of a higher magnitude, a higher cause. And so Zionism trumps free speech. This is essentially what they're saying to us.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, and that's why we've seen the deployment of the anti-Semitism weapon, which is entirely ubiquitous because it doesn't really mean anything.
Well, I mean, if everything is anti-Semitic, then nothing is anti-Semitic.
Well, exactly. So today, once again, the Guardian is putting out a story on his front page about Viktor Orban. Viktor Orban is once again launching, his campaign with anti-Semitic overtones.
But he supported the United States in the United Nations Security Council. Remarkably, it really it stuck out. He's like, Hungary voted that way.
Exactly. That's why it is so ridiculous. But the anti-Semitism weapon is very, very useful to go after your political opponents. It was used a great deal against Trump throughout his years, even though he did everything that Israel asked for and then some. And he has this his son-in-law, which is an intense Zionist activist. But that's what you do. You go after your political opponents. And now with this election, which is now less than a year away, we're going to hear a lot more of this. A constant drumbeat of, we saw this, we talked about it on the gaggle in The Economist about the greatest threat to the world order is Donald Trump getting reelected as president. We're going to see a lot more of this, of the crackdown on free speech and the enormous anti-Semitism threat that's emanating from Trump.
Yeah, but Martin, because of the reach of social media and specific news outlets, I think it's wearing really thin. I mean, they can bang away all they want about what is and isn't anti-Semitism, what words are dangerous, but when you look at those images, those videos, you can't unsee them in your mind, and it breaks you. It breaks me every time I look at it, and it makes me much more resolved to take on these people. Go ahead, call me what you want. I don't care. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, it upsets me a lot as well, but what I see from a distance, when I step back, I see this as a consequence of media eroding their own values over the last, I've got friends that I've known for 30 years in the UK who have blocked me now on social media because they are obviously not getting on their timelines, on their social media feeds, anything relating to the atrocities of Palestinians leading up to October the 7th.
Well, but this is what's happened. This is what's happened here. We had Russiagate. I lost a lot of friends. Okay. Yeah. The 2020 election, I lost a lot of friends. Ukraine, I lost a lot of friends. Now with Gaza, I'm losing a lot more friends. Okay. Because people get obsessed with these certain topics, and they can no longer reason. Gentlemen, that's all the time we have. I want to thank my guests in Budapest and in Marrakesh, and I want to thank our viewers for watching us here at RT. See you next time. Remember, crosstalk rules.